Okay, I think now is time to begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome to New Directions East Asia 2021. The following session is entitled IELTS Teaching in a Blended Learning Environment, an action research on incorporating e-learning components into teacher pedagogy. And the presenters are Shizheng Liu and Gang He. Shizheng Liu is an IELTS teacher and researcher in New Oriental Education and Technology Group. His work focuses specifically on the comparative study of large-scale, high-stakes standardized language tests. Gang He is the head of Research Institute of Overseas Examinations at New Oriental Education and Technology Group. His research interests lie primarily in the area of teacher training and language assessment. If anybody has questions for the presenters, please type them into the chat box during any time of the session. We'll have around 10 minutes at the end where these questions will be answered and addressed. I will now hand over to our presenters. Shizheng and Gang, please start sharing your screen and begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, hello everyone, good afternoon. Dear teachers and friends, we are very happy to attend the New Directions East Asia 2021 conference. Thank you for coming to our session. Now we are going to give our presentation on IELTS teaching in a learning environment. My name is He Gang, and here with me is Liu Shizheng. We are teachers, teacher trainers, and researchers in New Oriental. Now we are going to talk about our blended learning system that has been developed and used in New Oriental education for the last 1.5 years. In the next 20 or so minutes, we will first give a brief introduction to the New Oriental Blended Learning Environment. Then we will talk about how this blended learning environment was developed. What are the theoretical frameworks and philosophies we constantly referred to during our development process? In the third part, we'll show a quick demo of its workflow to demonstrate how this blended learning system is used in our teaching by using IELTS learning as an example. In the final part, we will mention the interactive video courses that are currently being developed, which will form a significant part of our system. Now, a few introduction about our learning environment. NOBLE here is an acronym which stands for New Oriental Blended Learning Environment. It's an overarching concept embodied by 4 key components. Just as any other blended learning environment, it has an online teaching platform to supplement the offline teaching experience. More importantly, it has a learning management system to merge the online and offline learning into one organic environment. To further improve students' blended learning experience, we are currently working on a series of interactive video courses to facilitate self-learning or the flipped classroom. The first component of NOBLE is our video conferencing platform called Roombox. This platform is developed and hereby used by New Oriental Education. Here you can see one of its user interfaces. Similar to Zoom or any other video conferencing softwares, it shows the teacher's face along with the faces of other students and the slides or videos used for teaching. It can also split students into several breakout rooms to do group discussion. Apart from these functions, Roombox has other useful features dedicated to facilitating the teacher and the students. For example, the teacher can send out digital answer sheets to collect students' responses to certain tasks, to help the teacher better grasp how well students can understand what is going on in the class based on their performance on these tasks. To light up the mood a little bit during the class, the teacher can also give out little stars to students who perform well in real time. And the number of stars students receive will be displayed along with their names. Younger learners seem to like this competition quite a lot. In New Oriental, we use Roombox. Our video conferencing room a platform mainly in 3 teaching scenarios. First of all, one-on-one tutoring, and then large size classroom teaching and small size classroom teaching. So far, these online teaching situations still mainly function as supplement to their offline teaching counterparts. Both the teacher and the students can freely decide to do the course online or offline. Understandably, Roombox proves itself to be very useful when students and teachers are forced to stay online due to COVID lockdown restrictions. The second most important part of our blended learning system is the learning management system. Here you can see we have enumerated its merits and functions from the perspectives of our 6 stakeholders. First, students can use it to do online practice, receive individual feedback, and tailor-made self-learning materials, as well as having their learning portfolios. Parents can use this system to check their kids' learning process. Our teachers can use it to set up assignments, collect and grade homework, send out feedback, and create learning reports for each student. Our student administrator, here we refer it to as SA, who function as learning tutors and course coordinators, can also do their job on this system. To our researchers, the data created by students doing practice and self-learning can become invaluable statistical assets. Moreover, this noble system is both available on PC ends as well as mobile phones. Users can log on to any platform, anytime, anywhere, as long as they like it. Various learning tools are also built into this learning management system. There are copyrighted IELTS practice tests and mock tests of computer delivered IELTS. There are also AI speaking tools called AI raters, offering them individual feedback and suggestions on improvement as well. Next, Sugar will share the second part of our presentation.
Okay, thank you, Hogan. So far we have talked about the envisions of our blended learning system. Now we're going to move on to the second part, which is how we develop this noble system and what theories and methods we have referred to. So first, let me show you a timeline of this blended learning project. Before 2020, New Oriental was mainly known for its offline face-to-face teaching. Although we have a subsidiary corporation called New Oriental Online, which is dedicated to offering online teaching services, our main business still lied in offline teaching at that time. Then here came the black swan we all know, COVID-19, and we were forced to transfer towards online teaching because offline teaching at that time was either suspended or largely restricted. So several months after the breakout of coronavirus, we came to realize that this pandemic will not die out very soon, and we needed to embrace the new normal, which is online merge offline, the OMO area. And once we had that strategy in mind, we knew that simply have an online teaching platform was far from enough to build up a blended learning environment. So since then, we have stepped on the journey of exploring and developing our own blended learning environment. So what did we do? First, we did a fairly thorough literature review on blended learning. So we thought, for the starter, we need to have a consensus on the definition of blended learning. So what blended learning is to us. And this definition, proposed by Lester et al., was the one we adopted. And after that, we wanted to know what potential benefits could blended learning bring. Graham said in 2003 that blended learning could deliver more pedagogical richness, and it's more flexible. It's more flexible for accessing knowledge, and more cost-effective compared to the pure offline classroom teaching. So knowing such benefits can motivate us to exert the similar influence on students with the help of our noble system. So we also had a look at some previous findings related to the blended learning. So basically, people found out that blended learning could produce improved learning outcomes, improved classroom dynamics, and improved flexibilities and student satisfaction. And most importantly, we try to identify several variables that are critical to the development of a blended learning environment, such as student attitudes, teacher attitudes, teacher training support, and so on. And among all those factors we identified, we came to an agreement that teacher training and support were the most crucial one. And why is that? Because lots of research has manifested that teacher, instructor professional development and support in terms of pedagogy and technology are both considered keys to successful blended learning programs. So therefore, we start to think about what we could do to train our teacher, to support our teacher, to embrace the blended learning environment. The first one that came to our mind was to actually organize a series of teaching training events. So we did it. Considering most of our teachers were used to teaching offline, they were very likely to lack the skills and expertise for online teaching, right? So therefore, we held 3 teaching training events with 3 topics. The first one was to familiarize our teacher with the features and function of our Roombox, our live stream platform. Only if they are familiar enough with the platform could they know what they could do with it and how they could take advantage of this platform. And also, engaging students and interacting with them in online settings was totally another story compared to offline teaching. Teachers might now know how to light up the mood and maintain the interaction frequencies when they teaching online. So we thought they may need some proper training on that. So we invited 3 experienced teacher trainers who has massive online teaching experience. We let them introduce the skills they used to improve interaction and student involvement. And finally, unlike offline teaching, teachers usually find it's very difficult to monitor student performance and behavior in online classroom. And giving feedback in that setting is usually very troublesome and time-consuming. Given that, we also train our teachers how to monitor and give feedback with what we have already in our hands. As previously mentioned, apart from teacher training, teacher support is also very important, right? And in order to know how we can support our teachers in this blended learning environment, we figured we need to at least start with analyzing the needs of our teachers and the student administrators. That is, we thought, what our IELTS teachers and student administrators normally need to do in their daily teaching. And we did so, and we think so for a reason. Because facts once said, if a needs audit were carried out prior to the introduction of a new technology into any setting, it would help to ensure that the learning be given greater priority over technology in the planning process. So, after some serious thinking, we found out that our teacher needs can be classified into 4 categories. The first one is giving feedback. As we said earlier, giving feedback in online classroom can be tricky, and some training sessions are not enough to solve this problem. So we need to find a way to support our teacher in this regard. Second, teaching offline. Our teacher usually print out some practice material for students. But if they are teaching online, although they can use digital documents, it's still kind of troublesome for some teacher and students to edit or write on a PDF file. So that's another support we need to give. Besides, the teacher and student administrators also need to create and share the learning reports with students and their parents. So we thought there must be an easier way for them to do that in this novel or blended learning environment. At last, to take advantages of this blended learning, we thought it would be much better if we could provide some self-learning video courses for the student to watch. And they can watch either before or after the class, either to preview or review the knowledge. So look at our needs analysis. We thought, okay, if it looks like we need a learning management system that can bridge the gap between online and offline teaching, as well as satisfy those needs mentioned above. However, we were quite careful at that time. Although we knew even with a learning management system, we need to act with caution, because the benefits of using an learning management system are sometimes seen as offset by the limitation inherent in their use, leading teachers to assume that the sum total of what is possible to do online is represented by the priority system. So to prevent something like this from happening, we figured we need to design a learning management system that can organically associate it with our needs. And we need to design it on our own instead of purchasing an already commercialized one on the market. And lucky for us, the full name of New Oriental is New Oriental Education and Technology Group. So it means we have the technological resources and ability to do so. And many thanks to our IT department, we developed a learning management system that could meet our demands, and we call it Noble System. As we said earlier, we need to support our teacher to give feedback. And with the help of our Noble System, the teacher can give feedback on their phones, just like I show you on the screen. As you can see, they can select the class they need to feedback. They can give either written or oral feedback. They can also insert photos if they want. So this is basically what it looks like to give a whole class feedback. And also, if the teacher wants to give individual feedback, they can select the name of any student in this class and give individual feedback. They can report on how this particular student performs in the class and give some individual suggestions accordingly. And we all know that what we just show you is giving feedback on mobile phones, right? And we all know that cell phones are not born to do heavy work. So if our teacher wants to look professional, they can always give feedback on their computer. And this is what the interface looks like. And after the teacher sends out the feedback through the Noble System, the student and the student administrators can easily check the feedback on their phones. And here is how it looks on their phone. Besides that, our learning management system can generate a student learning report based on the student learning data. And such report, as shown in the screen, can either be automatically created by our system, or our teacher can manually fill up the form and they can share it with our SA or teacher, our students later. As for practice materials, we integrated the official IELTS practice paper into the system, so the students can directly do practice here, and their practice result will fit into learning report. As for self-learning video courses, we adopted a itemized e-learning philosophy. That means we created and upload lots of separate lesson videos onto the Noble System and give the teacher and SA the right to assemble together videos they believe that are useful to their students. And we can delete outdated videos or upload new videos anytime if we want. So we can always make sure our catalog is updated to the recent the trend. So the page I'm showing you right now is the catalog of video lessons on the Noble System. So once you log on to the platform, that's what you see. This is what you will see on the screen. And once you click inside, students can watch the video and do online practice here. So basically, that's everything we need to talk about, like why or how we develop our Noble System. And now, to help you to see a bigger picture, like how our blended learning system works, we will show you its typical workflow during 3 periods, which are before the course, during the course, and after the course. So its typical workflow starts with students enrolling in our courses. Then we will give them a placement task to see which level of course is suitable for them, because we have many various levels of course. And after that, our student administrators will send self-learning video courses through this Noble System in order to help our students get that. And our teacher can always check their pre-learning progress to get an overall understanding of their learner profile, so they can know their student before the class begins. Then we proceed to the official IELTS teaching in the classroom, either offline or online. So after the class, the teacher will give feedback and homework on the system, and the SA can continue to push self-learning videos to each student based on their learning progress. A student will check their feedback to homework and practice on Noble. And all those data generated along with their feedback will feed into their learning report. And based on their learning report, our teacher can adjust his teaching, their teaching pace or methods accordingly. And this is not over yet, because when the course is over, most of our students will be signing up for the IELTS exam. Our SA will make a record of their examination date to see how much time they are left for reviewing knowledge. And SA will send the test preparation plan and the video lessons to each student, until their IELTS examination date. And when their IELTS scores are released, our SA will collect them, so our teacher can reflect on their teaching methods to see whether their courses can make a real difference to students' IELTS score. So basically, that's how our entire work flows. So next, my colleague He Gang will give you a short introduction about the interactive courses.
Actually, starting from the last few months, New Oriental have been working on developing a series of interactive online courses aiming to complement our self-learning video lessons. Since it's still under development and due to time limitation, we won't bring up any details about it. We hope that we'll have the opportunity to share our development in the near future. That's basically all for our presentation this afternoon. Thank you for your time, and we are here to answer if there is any questions.
Great, thank you very much, both of you, for that excellent presentation. To the attendees, if you do have any questions, feel free just to type them into the chat box now. We have 8 minutes left in this session. I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask, if you don't mind. So, yeah, I mean, loads of schools, loads of institutions are now moving to learning management systems and online platforms. Have you done any research into things like student satisfaction and teacher satisfaction with using these kind of platforms like Noble, or what was that other one called? Something box, I forgot the name. Roombox.
Yeah, actually, we did that last year, and we also presented our result to the British Council, this New Direction event. According to our result, like, most of our students and the teachers are still quite satisfied with, quite used to teaching offline, and they are not very ready to embracing the whole blended learning or pure online teaching area. But that happens for a reason, especially for us, because New Oriental, as I said earlier, we are traditionally offline teaching institution, and the teacher we hire and the students who come to us, they are hoping to get an face-to-face teaching environment. They want to get that. So it's no wonder why our result came out like that. But I imagine, like, for some pure or mainly online teaching institution like Hawaii or something else in China, their student and their teacher might be particularly satisfied with teaching online, because that usually will save them lots of time for commuting between the classroom and their home, and their students can learn anywhere and anytime. But we just don't know whether the teaching effects is guaranteed. Yeah, we don't know.
My understanding is that both the teachers and students, they have been more and more accustomed to the online way of learning, and luckily our IT team has been constantly upgrading our system. So we integrated the feedback from both teachers and students and how they would like the platform to be growing, and then we constantly reform our platform. And due to these reasons, I think that although students and the teachers may hate to stare at the screen all the time, but their satisfaction rate has been rising.
Gradually rising, I think.
That's good to hear. We have a question from our audience, from Andrew. And Andrew asks, what is the non-online element of this blended learning model?
Our main online, non-online or offline element is our traditional face-to-face teaching. And that's a totally different story compared to the blended learning one, because we teach in the classroom, we have printed handouts, projector, or lots of settings like this.
Excellent. I have another question. I have many questions actually, but from two experts here. We do have a number of teachers in the audience. So I know in the last year, a lot of teachers have often complained about how students may not be very motivated with online systems or very engaged. Do you have some tips or advice you could share with everybody? How can we really engage our students when we're using online platforms?
Well,
point star system. Give me flowers.
Yeah, it may have to, we may have to do it from two with two methods. Like the first one is the IT department have to cooperate with our teacher, to design some unique features to encourage our students to engage in the class, like giving stars and some like visual effects whenever they answer the question correctly, and also they have the portfolio of the log of their the stars they received. So it can create a sense of competitions. And the stars received, they can treat those stars with gifts. For example, if you received like 100 stars, you can treat an umbrella or a bottle of waters or something like that. So students can generally, they are activated by these small tricks. And also for teacher teaching online, they usually need to pay much more attention to their students. They need to, to ask CCQs more frequently and to name pick their students very often. So to make sure that the students are staying with the teacher. So basically that's two tricks we have learned and we have used.
Excellent. Another couple of questions from our audience here. Mark asks, how about skills on test strategies for students? Are these taken into account in the Noble system aside from just language skills?
Actually, we think that depends on the level of students, their English levels. For students who are kind of lower levels, we tend to teach, we tend to emphasize on the language skill more, put more emphasis on the language skill. And for students who already have a decent level of English proficiencies, the emphasis will move on to the tricks of taking the exam, like what strategies you can use, and to familiarize with them with the test format and something like this. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question from the audience, and this is from Khan Tran. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. And they say they've got 5 groups of IELTS students, and they often have to manage their registration and online study manually. So their question is, what is your advice to manage them better by using a PC software or something like that?
I'm sorry, we
are not sure what the particular question is. For us, this online management system, it's not just a teaching platform, but also a system in which the student administrators can put in the students' records, portfolios, and progress into one systematic system.
And when the students are enrolling our course, our SA will particularly mention that the students need a PC or at least an iPad to do our learning in your new Oriental, because especially in a blended learning environment, we think that's quite essential, because unlike the offline teaching area, they don't need, we actually, like 2 years ago, computers and the mobile phones are banned in our classroom. But right now it's a different story, right? We need to evolve and accept that.
It's a must.
Yeah, so that for that question, I will wrap up, like, we need cooperation with our students and monitor from our students' parents. That's not something we can do alone. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. There seems to be a lot of different learning management systems out there, and you know, half their purpose is to help the people manage their students, whether that's keeping track of feedback given by teachers or things like this. So yeah, finding the right system is probably the most helpful thing to do. Anyway, that basically brings us to the end of the session. Thank you again so much for that presentation. To the audience out there, please leave us some feedback on this particular session by answering the 2 very short survey questions you can find on the right side in the little survey tab. I hope everybody here enjoys the rest of the conference. See you later and goodbye. Bye, everyone.
bye. Thank you, everyone.
The live stream is about 30 seconds delayed, so I kind of wait a little bit before I stop the live stream. I think it's about maybe 40 seconds delay, so sometimes questions come in a little bit later. So I'm